Okay, so this is a movie that starts off strong, actually very strong. And then by the end of it, I have no idea what in the hell is going on, and I found myself just chanting, "End, for the love of God, end." This is The Player from 1992. It starts off with a Lesdom boss and her subby Leslie's assistant. They're on the hunt for Griffin Mills. This is played by the lead actor, Tim Robbins. And by the way, he's about the only one outside of cameos. And there's a lot of them in this movie that kind of means anything. Everybody else I know I've seen here or there, but they didn't really mean anything. Anyway, it starts off with Griffin hearing a terrible pitch for The Graduate 2, and yes, that sounds bad. It's a bunch of stereotypical scenes for like a studio system that didn't exist in the 90s and didn't really exist back then, except if you count maybe the 30s. Anyway, by the way, this is also the same year that Reservoir Dogs came out. And I don't know if this film is a commentary to that or if it's just a coincidence, because there's a lot of commentary in this movie and it's kind of weird. Like I said, this movie, I don't know what the hell it was trying to say with its story. So it starts off with Tim's character, Griffin, getting a threatening fax or note. I forget which. And he just kind of brushes it off. Whatever. And like I said, they next thing is he's going around the studio and you see like Jack Lemmon, Jeff Goldblum. Then they're at a function later, and him and his girl in the movie, or in this thing, at least at the moment. Well, she's completely naked in a hot tub, so at least we get some pointless nudity. And he keeps getting these threatening notes in the mail. And it's kind of like, well, why wouldn't this guy turn it over to the head of studio security, who we'll meet about halfway through the movie, or the police, or just chuck him in the trash? I don't know why he's weirdly weirded out by them. By the way, I'm going to bring these notes up towards the end of the movie, because, again, this is where the movie really falls apart. So eventually, Tim Robbins' character, Griffin Mills, meets up with the writer who is supposedly sending him the notes. He meets him at some art house flick. They have drinks together, because that's what you do when somebody is threatening you through the mail. Take them out for drinks. Anyway, they have a struggle because Griffin Mills is worried he's going to be losing his job to this other character that I'll bring up in a minute. And the writer is basically saying, I write, I have a skill, you have nothing. What will you do when you lose your job? And they struggle a little bit. Tim Robbins goes over a railing. The writer goes to check on him, and then Tim Robbins basically beats him to death in the alleyway, I think. So then it cuts to the dead writer's funeral, where another pretentious writer is yapping about how we need to hold producers' feet to the fire with movies, and how we can't compromise on our art. And it's something I've always hated from certain creative people. It's about the art, man. No, it's not. Art is designed to make money, not be there for art's sake. So the guy that's oh, and kind of weirdly, she asks the dead writer's wife asks Tim Robbins to take her home for reasons. It's just an excuse to get the romantic subplot moving along. Anyway, a guy named Larry Levy, played by Peter Gallagher, he's gunning for Griff's job. Fred Ward plays the head of security because right now it's looking like Tim Robbins' character, Griffin Mills, is going to be pinned for the murder. So he wants to keep it very quiet. Hopefully it just goes away. And again, one of the themes of this movie is I don't know if it's attempting to elevate pompous writers or to shit on them. But whatever. So there's this weird guy that you'll see throughout the movie. You assume that it's the real guy. He pops up. He's a weird looking dude. I can't remember the actor's name. I didn't bother to look it up. He's pretty much a pointless character too. That's another thing. A lot of these characters you think are building to something build to nothing. Anyway, another thing is, like, I don't know if this movie's attempting to call out people that overanalyze movies. Keep in mind, this was made in 1992. I'd love to know what this commentary would have been if it lived in the age of the YouTube fucking video essayist. Jesus Christ, do you really need to make a 2-hour movie about how Die Hard is really an allegory for capitalism? So Whoopi Goldberg completely comes out of left field in this movie. She plays a cop with a female partner who's played by I don't give a shit who. And there's a pointless scene where they're watching a movie being made. It adds nothing. Malcolm McDowell has a cameo in this. Addie McDowell has a cameo in this. There's this really annoying director and writer character in this movie, which just sucks. Then I learned something that I didn't know was possible. And I think this is the last message, too. Because Tim Robbins hooks up his car phone. I knew they existed, but I didn't know about car fax machines. Jesus Christ, we're worried about texting and driving, but you could receive an entire fucking fax while going 60? Well, apparently in this world, California has no fucking traffic, so it's fine. Yeah, if anybody knew that cars had fax machines, please let me know. So anyway, it says don't look in the box. He looks in the box. There's a rattler in the box, and he pulls over and kills it. Fine, whatever. And this is the problem. For the first 3/4 of the movie, one of the main plot points is that he's been getting these notes. Then it just stops. He kills the snake, and they're never brought up again. Where the hell is that thing going to? This is why I said I don't know if this movie had a plethora of producers or directors, but it looks like there were 2 different movies that got smashed together. I will say throughout the movie, a lot of the dialogue is just fucking cringe. And then it gets to a whole shit ton more cameos. I swear to God, they filmed this at some gala event that these Hollywood idiots attend to raise money for God knows what. Masturbation lessons for the people of Ghana. And then Griffin talks about how movies are art. Yes, movies are art. Guess what, though? Art needs to make money. And then they asked Tim Robbins to come in to look at pictures. Then you find out the weirdo that's been stalking Tim the entire time is another cop. And this is where one of the weirdest scenes, because you have Whoopi Goldberg and this other female cop yapping about tampons. I'm not kidding. Then you have one of the most unprofessional cop scenes in any movie, and then they all start laughing at Tim. Like, I don't know, if he was having a psychotic break, it's never brought up, because the scene just cuts to him lying on his couch. Then he goes with his new girlfriend, because apparently the chick with the fucking terrible haircut, was his current girlfriend, and he takes his new one to the gala thing, and then he takes her to some fucking resort in Texas, or who the fuck cares. And then they have the weird artsy sex scene. And if you don't know, for at least a small snippet of this movie, you can actually get a side shot of Tim Robinson's dick. And at this point, after the spa scene, this is where I just start chanting, end. End. Just end. End the fucking movies. And, of course, there's even more cameos at the end. So, the movie ends with them watching a test screening or a screening of the movie that the director and the British writer pitched earlier in the film. And the ending of the movie, which was supposed to be like super dark, changes to the happy ending, and the chick with the bad haircut says, well, why did you change it? Why did you change it? And they said, well, when we did the test screening, it got 0. So they changed it to the happy ending because, the movie has to make money. And because she felt so passionately about the original ending, she gets fired for it. I don't know. Now Tim Robbins is the head of the studio, and then he drives home where the dead writer's wife is pregnant with his kid. This movie started out good and ended up becoming a big steaming pile of dog shit. Like, seriously. Again, the only thing I can compare this to is Highlander 2, and when that had the insurance company come in and just slap the movie together. That's what this feels like. This movie feels like it was just slapped the fuck together. Anyway, 3 out of 10.